Chosen one. You did not stumble into this moment. Heaven scheduled this encounter with precision. Your spirit was summoned here because God is shifting something in your life right now. Anointed one, you are standing at the threshold of a supernatural breakthrough, a divine wealth transfer that has been forming in the unseen long before you felt the shaking in your soul. What you've been losing is not loss, it is alignment. What has been quieting in you is not weakness, it is preparation. For it is written, set your mind on the things of the Spirit. Today, the Spirit is speaking directly to you. Chosen one. I need you to breathe for a moment and let this truth settle into you. What you are walking through is not random. It is not hormonal imbalance. It is not emotional detachment. It is not you changing as you get older. No, anointed one, this is spiritual. Heaven has reached into the deepest parts of your being and started rearranging the wiring of your soul because the assignment on your life requires a different kind of vessel. What was normal for others is no longer permissible for you, and the sudden quieting of desires that once felt uncontrollable is the first sign that God is beginning a holy recalibration inside you. I know this season feels strange. I've been there myself, that moment when you realize the cravings that once chased you don't even whisper anymore. You look in the mirror and wonder, what's happening to me? You wonder if you've lost something, but the truth is, you didn't lose anything. Something was taken intentionally, delicately and lovingly by the hands of the one who formed you. Because when God begins awakening a chosen one, he starts by reclaiming the energy that was once scattered, wasted, and poured into places that drained you more than they filled you. Chosen one. Your energy. Yes, even that energy is sacred. It is not just biological, it is spiritual currency. It is the current that God breathes through human beings to create, to birth visions, to build destinies, to sustain spiritual fire. Every chosen vessel throughout history had a moment where the flesh was silenced so the spirit could rise. I remember the night God did it to me, a soft, unexplainable shift, where something that had always been loud suddenly went quiet. And at first I panicked. But later I realized heaven was protecting me from choices that would have derailed the very calling I was praying for. Anointed one. This is where you are now. God is redirecting what was once spent on impulse into something that will build your future. This is not punishment. This is precision. You are being prepared, not deprived. Because the mantle you carry, whether you feel ready or not, demands clarity, vision, and fire. And God will not allow your divine strength to leak into places that were never meant to hold you. This is why your appetite has changed. Your spirit has matured faster than your environment. You've outgrown what once entertained you. The movies you used to enjoy don't sit right anymore. The conversations you used to entertain now feel empty. The kind of intimacy you once sought out now feels misaligned. This is not dysfunction, this is evolution. Your soul is awakening to something higher, something holier, something heavier. The old version of you chased connection. The new version of you carries purpose. And purpose has a diet. Purpose has boundaries. Purpose requires the pruning of desires that once served your flesh, but sabotaged your destiny. You are being shifted from flesh-led living into spirit-led movement. And that shift always begins with a divine interruption, a holy pause where God refuses to let you return to the same patterns that once drained your power. But I want to speak plainly for a moment, because you need honesty, not just prophecy. We live in a world saturated with distortion. Every scroll, every song, every whisper of culture tries to feed you addiction. Society profits off your impulses. It monetizes your cravings. It weaponizes your loneliness. And without even realizing it, you absorb everyone's projection of what desire should feel like. Before you know it, your identity gets tangled in something that was never meant to define you. Chosen. 1. Heaven is breaking that off of you. God is not trying to make you less human. He is trying to make you whole. There is a version of you rising right now that doesn't need validation, attention, or fantasy to feel alive. You're learning how to breathe from the spirit instead of from sensation. This shift is not suppression, it is liberation. Your soul is being freed from the lower impulses that used to silence your higher calling. And yes, the detox is uncomfortable. Yes, it feels like losing familiarity. Yes, it feels like stepping into a strange, quiet place where you don't fully understand yourself. But let me tell you something I learned on my own journey. The quiet is a blessing. The silence is a shield. The stillness you feel inside is heaven pulling you away from hidden traps, unseen attachments, and spiritual contamination you didn't even know you were carrying. The people you once connected with spiritually left fingerprints on your soul, some light, some heavy, some clean, some toxic. And when God begins to cleanse a chosen vessel, He removes not just the desire, but also the residue. That is what you feel right now, not emptiness, but purification. Anointed one. You're not losing your desire, you're regaining your destiny. God is pulling you into deeper waters, preparing you for partnerships that are rooted in purpose, not temptation. He is sparing you from connections that would have delayed your calling. He is detoxing the places where trauma disguised itself as attraction. And He is redirecting your fire toward building, creating, healing, influencing, and leading. You are being prepared for more clarity, more power, more purpose, more spiritual sensitivity. The decrease in the flesh is the increase of the spirit. You are not descending, you are ascending. And this is only the beginning. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine awakening when heaven does not simply shift what you feel, it shifts what you can no longer tolerate. This is where you are now. You're noticing the change, not just in your desires, but in your spirit, your reactions, even your senses. What used to excite you now feels hollow. What used to tempt you now feels dangerous. What used to catch your attention now barely stirs a flicker inside you. This isn't spiritual dryness. This is spiritual protection. Anointed, one God is shielding you from what your eyes can't see, but your spirit has already sensed. Every connection you once made, emotional, physical, or spiritual, carried an exchange. And many of those exchanges left fingerprints on your soul. Some fingerprints were holy, but many were not. Some came from broken people, wounded people, people carrying generational chains you were never meant to inherit. And you didn't know it, but every time you allowed someone access to your spirit, you carried pieces of their storms long after the connection ended. I've lived this. I felt the heaviness that lingered even when the relationship was over, the sudden anxiety, the unfamiliar sadness, the confusion that didn't belong to me. There were days when I walked around with a weight I didn't recognize, only to realize later that I had picked up someone else's pain. That is when God stepped in. Because sometimes the greatest act of mercy is the removal of desire. Chosen. 1. God shutting down your appetite is not rejection, it is rescue. He is pulling you out of soul ties, trauma, ties, energy, drains, and spiritual contamination. Some connections were beautiful on the surface, but poisonous beneath. Some people had no intention to harm you, but the carried burdens your spirit was too pure to hold. Others were sent by assignment, not from heaven, but from the enemy to slow you down, distract you, or dilute your calling. But heaven said no more. This is why God is sealing off access points, why He is silencing urges, why He is reducing appetite, why He is closing old doors, even ones you didn't know were still open. He is cutting the spiritual cords that were draining you. He is cleansing the temple of your inner world so you can finally hear His voice with clarity. He is reminding you that your body is not a playground for the world. It's a platform for His glory. And yes, this season may feel lonely. Yes, it may feel like isolation. Yes, you may wonder why the distraction that once felt comforting now feels uncomfortable. But listen to me, loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the presence of God calling your name. Anointed one, you are being set apart. Not because you are fragile, not because you are weak, but because your destiny is weighty and not everyone can walk beside someone carrying oil. You've been asking God for purpose, clarity, elevation, expansion, and He heard you. But before He hands you the next level, He must remove the attachments that could not survive the glory you are about to walk into. Think of it like surgery. Before a surgeon begins, the patient must be still. Movement creates danger. Distraction creates risk. So heaven stills you emotionally, spiritually, and yes, even physically to prepare you for reconstruction. This is not suppression. It is transformation. You are not being emptied. You are being purified. This detox is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. You are being freed from the algorithms of addiction that once controlled your attention, freed from the patterns of validation, seeking that once dictated your choices, freed from cycles that run through your bloodline, cycles that ended with you the moment heaven stepped in. Because you, chosen one, are a cycle breaker. You were not placed in your family to repeat the patterns, you were placed there to rewrite the story. God is severing generational chains through your resistance, generational urges through your surrender, generational trauma through your transformation. The quietness inside you is not a void, it is a battlefield where heaven is winning on your behalf. And while this is happening, something else is rising within you. Something subtle, yet unmistakable. A growing awareness. A heightened sensitivity. A spiritual sensitivity that lets you see beyond the surface. The same energy that once leaked into temptations is now igniting prophetic intuition. Your instincts are no longer shaped by emotion, they are shaped by discernment. You walk into a room and feel the truth before anyone speaks. You sense people's motives without hearing their words. You detect spiritual shifts before they manifest in the natural. This is not imagination, it is activation. Your spirit is expanding. Your inner sight is awakening. Your heart is being rewired to recognize truth over temptation, purpose over pleasure, alignment over appetite. And as this happens, heaven begins preparing you for the next chapter, one that will not be built on craving, but on calling. Chosen one. Listen carefully. Your reduced desires are not evidence of loss. They are evidence of growth. You are being transitioned from flesh-led living into purpose-driven existence. What once drained you will now fuel you. What once distracted you will now elevate you. What once tempted you will now tremble before you. God is not just removing something, He is making room for something. A new level of peace, a new level of clarity, a new level of purpose, a new level of spiritual authority. And this is only the unfolding of your transformation. Chosen one now. We must go deeper because there is a sacred truth unfolding in your life that very few ever recognize while it's happening. When heaven begins to quiet your flesh, it is not simply removing desire, it is removing access. access points where the enemy once slipped in through distraction, attachment, and unhealed wounds. And whether you realized it or not, each of those access points influenced your choices, your emotions, your relationships, and even your spiritual direction. This quiet season is not about losing appetite. It is about reclaiming territory in your soul that you did not know was under siege. Anointed. 1. The world you live in has spent years conditioning you to crave what empties you. Everywhere you turn, the culture feeds your senses but starves your spirit. It tells you indulgence is freedom, even though you have lived long enough to know indulgence often becomes a cage. It tells you to follow your impulses, even though your impulses have led you into places you had to pray your way out of. This world profits from your distraction, your craving, your hunger for stimulation. It floods your mind with images, ideas, and temptations that leave you drained, not transformed. Yet here you are, awakening, rising, recognizing that something in you is shifting beyond your control. That shift is the detox of heaven. And detox does not start with comfort, it starts with confrontation. Confronting the false identities you picked up when you didn't know who you were. Confronting the desires that were never truly yours but were shaped by culture, trauma, loneliness, and exposure. Confronting the cycle of wanting things that never fed you, never grew, you never aligned with God's purpose for your life. Chosen one. This transformation begins with a holy interruption, the removal of appetite. When God takes away your sex drive, it is not to shame you, but to free you. It is not to punish you, but to preserve you. He is reclaiming the energy that was poured into fantasies, memories, and attractions that would have pulled you out of alignment. He is cutting the emotional cords connected to people who were never meant to walk into your next season. He is releasing you from desires that were rooted in old wounds, rather than your true identity. And here is the deeper truth. Desire is powerful because it is creative. It builds something in you. It leads you somewhere. But when that desire is misdirected, it builds prisons instead of purpose. It leads you into cycles instead of destiny. So God has stepped in, not because you are weak, but because your calling is too strong. He cannot allow your destiny to be diluted by connections built on craving rather than covenant. This is why everything in you has gone quiet. The very places where your emotions once screamed are now still. The places where the flesh once dominated now feel distant. The impulses that once felt normal now feel foreign. Your spirit is rising while your flesh is dissolving into silence. And this silence is not emptiness, it is rebirth. Anointed one. I know this silence intimately. There were seasons in my own life where I felt the same sudden stillness, the same detachment, the same loss of desire. At first I thought something was wrong with me, but eventually I realized something was being healed in me. There is a version of yourself you cannot meet until the old desires die. There is a level of clarity you cannot reach until the noise is gone. There is a frequency your spirit cannot tune into until the cravings stop shouting over the voice of God. And slowly, this detox begins awakening a different kind of sensitivity, not physical, but spiritual. You start sensing shifts in the atmosphere. You begin to notice the purity or impurity in someone's intentions without needing them to say a word. You start identifying truth before you hear it. You feel spiritual danger in places that once felt exciting. You begin walking into rooms and reading energies, patterns, and motives effortlessly. Chosen one. This is not imagination. This is activation. The same energy that once fueled your urges is now being redirected toward your discernment. your intuition, your vision, your spiritual intelligence. You are becoming aware of what your spirit always knew, but your flesh used to drown out. This is how prophets are formed. This is how leaders are refined. This is how chosen vessels are prepared, not through indulgence, but through purification. And as your discernment rises, your standards rise with it. You start recognizing the difference between attraction and alignment. You stop allowing access to people who do not carry peace. You stop tolerating connections that drain your purpose. You recognize the cost of tying your spirit to someone who cannot walk where God is taking you. And suddenly, you no longer crave temporary comfort. You crave clarity, depth, purpose, and purity. This is where heaven reveals the next layer. God is preparing you for divine relationship, a connection built not on chemistry, but on calling, not on impulse, but on intention, not on lust, but on covenant. You are being positioned for a partnership that reflects heaven, not the world. And God will not allow you to carry old appetites into a divine union. He must purify you first. He must empty you of what once distracted you, so He can fill you with what will sustain you, chosen. This quiet season is not a period of lack, it is a period of alignment. Your desires are not gone, they are being sanctified. Your energy is not diminished, it is being redirected toward destiny. You are not falling apart, you are falling into purpose, and this is only the next phase of your awakening. Chosen one. Now that heaven has silenced the noise inside you, God begins to transform something even deeper: your capacity. The quieting of your flesh is only the doorway. What comes next is the expansion of your spirit. This is the part very few people speak about, because it is the part that cannot be understood with reason. It can only be understood by those who are being reshaped by God from the inside out. And that is exactly what is happening to you in this season. Anointed one. You are entering the stage where heaven activates gifts that have been dormant inside you for years, maybe even your whole life. These gifts were always present, hidden, buried, waiting for the right moment, but the distractions of the flesh made them impossible to hear, impossible to feel, impossible to use. God had to quiet the noise before He could awaken the power. And now, in this strange stillness, something new is stirring in you. You may not have words for it yet, but you can feel it. Your reactions are changing. Your emotional reflexes are changing. Your ability to sense truth is becoming sharper. You're noticing patterns you used to miss. You're feeling heaviness or peace around people before they speak. Your dreams are becoming more vivid. Your instincts are becoming more accurate. Your awareness is rising beyond the natural realm, pulling you into a place of spiritual sensitivity that is rare and sacred. This is not your imagination, chosen one. This is heaven activating your spiritual gifts. When God quiets the flesh, He amplifies the spirit. And as your physical appetite decreases, your spiritual appetite increases. Your hunger for connection becomes a hunger for clarity. Your longing for pleasure becomes a longing for purpose. Your desire for validation becomes a desire for truth. And slowly, you begin to realize that the emptiness you once feared is actually making room for revelation. I have lived this part too. I remember the day I realized I could sense the emotional weight of a person before they opened their mouth. I could walk into a room and discern the atmosphere before seeing the faces. I could feel when someone was carrying heaviness, deception, or desperation. And I could feel when God's hand was on them. At first, I didn't understand it. I felt too sensitive, too aware. But then I learned this sensitivity wasn't weakness. It was prophetic clarity. And God is giving that same clarity to you now. Chosen. 1. The spiritual gifts rising within you were never meant to function alongside lust, distraction, or chaos. They needed space. They needed peace. They needed purity. They needed a quiet, internal environment where the whispers of heaven could be heard without interference. And this is why God removed the craving, because craving competes with calling. As your gifts awaken, you begin to see life differently. You no longer interpret situations from the surface, you discern them from the spirit. You no longer rely solely on logic, you rely on insight. You no longer depend on emotions, you depend on alignment. And this shift marks the beginning of a new chapter, where God will use you not just to live differently, but to see differently. But with this activation comes another truth. God is preparing you not just for clarity, but for manifestation. You are entering a season where what you speak will carry power. Your words will create movement. Your obedience will open doors. Your spiritual insight will unlock solutions, ideas, and opportunities you never knew were possible. But for this manifestation to unfold, your energy must be gathered, focused, and purified. And this is exactly what God has been doing in your quiet season, concentrating the fire that once leaked through your desires and redirecting it toward your destiny. Think of a river that used to spill everywhere, soaking into the ground without direction. Now imagine that same river channeled into one powerful stream. That is what is happening inside you. Your creativity will rise, your vision will sharpen, your motivation will increase. Your capacity to build spiritually, financially, emotionally will expand. When the flesh dies, manifestation begins. And chosen one manifestation is not magic. It is alignment. It is when your internal world matches your divine assignment. It is when the choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the spirit you carry begin to attract everything heaven ordained for you. Ideas will come, opportunities will come, divine connections will come, provision will come, because you are finally becoming the vessel that can hold them. The world teaches manifestation through desire. God teaches it through surrender. And you, anointed one, are being trained in divine surrender, the kind that builds kingdoms, breaks curses, heals generations, and reshapes destinies. Your old desires did not disappear. They were transformed into fuel. The energy that once chased pleasure is now being used to build purpose. The craving that once pulled you downward is now being converted into fire that will lift you upward. Your flesh is not being punished, it is being repurposed. Chosen one, let this truth settle deeply. The stillness you feel is not inactivity, it is construction. Heaven is building something inside you that the world will witness in due time, and this is only the continuation of your awakening. Chosen one, now that your gifts are being awakened and your spirit is rising, you are entering one of the most misunderstood phases of divine transformation, the phase of reconstruction. This is where heaven begins rebuilding you from the inside out. Not the version shaped by culture, not the version shaped by wounds, not the version shaped by expectations. This is where God resurrects the version of you that He intended from the beginning, the version that has authority, the version that has clarity, the version that has spiritual weight. Anointed one, you must understand something essential. God cannot rebuild on unstable foundations. He cannot place destiny on fractured identity. He cannot pour revelation into a vessel still leaking from the wounds of old desires. And so what you may feel right now, the stillness, the stripping, the silence, is not an ending but a cleansing of the foundation. God is resetting your internal architecture because your calling demands structural strength. This is why your cravings had to die. Because cravings do not build, they consume, they cloud judgment, they weaken discernment. They tie your spirit to what does not carry your destiny. And you cannot lead, heal, bless, build, or break generational cycles while being internally divided. So heaven stepped in, heaven intervened, heaven began to cut away appetites that were connected to old identities, old trauma, old patterns, and old versions of yourself, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Chosen one. This preparation is not gentle, it is surgical. It is the kind of transformation that requires God to go into the hidden rooms of your soul and remove what no one else sees. The insecurities you hide, the wounds you suppress, the memories you buried, the patterns you've tolerated, the compromises you normalized. God is disrupting all of it because none of it can travel with you into the next dimension of your purpose. And in this reconstruction, something else becomes clear. You are being repositioned. The environments you used to fit in now feel too small. The people you used to relate to now feel distant. The conversations you used to enjoy now feel shallow. The temptations that once felt magnetic now feel meaningless. This is not disconnection, it is elevation. You are rising and the things below you no longer carry the same weight. Anointed. One, think of this transformation like the metamorphosis of a butterfly. The caterpillar does not crawl into a cocoon to improve. It enters the cocoon to dissolve. Its old form melts away so a new form can emerge. Its legs disappear. Its body restructures. Its entire existence shifts. It becomes unrecognizable compared to what it once was. But in that dissolving, it gains wings. This is your cocoon season. God is dissolving everything that cannot fly, everything that cannot carry your next level, everything that cannot align with your future. The cravings, the distractions, the emotional entanglements, the impulsive reactions, all of it is being melted away in His presence. And while this happens, heaven is also doing something powerful, strengthening the parts of you that were once suppressed. Your discipline, your intuition, your creativity, your sensitivity to the Holy Spirit, your discernment, your emotional endurance, your spiritual authority, your vision for the future. Chosen one. You are not losing pieces of yourself. You are recovering the pieces you forgot you had. You are rediscovering the clarity you once prayed for, the peace you once longed for, the purity you once fought for, the focus you once begged God to give you. It is all rising now because there is finally room for it. And as your capacity grows, heaven begins preparing you for a responsibility that most people never reach: divine influence. Anointed one. Your transformation is not private just for the sake of privacy. It is private because the weight of your calling cannot be shaped in public. God is preparing you for influence, spiritual, emotional, relational, and even financial influence, and that kind of authority requires purification. You cannot carry influence with a divided mind. You cannot steward favor with scattered energy. You cannot rise publicly while being broken privately. So God is healing you behind closed doors. He is cleansing you in silence. He is strengthening your character in hidden places. Because there will come a day when the doors He opens for you will require the version of you He is building right now. Chosen. One, understand this: the decrease in your desire is a prophetic sign. It is the signal that heaven is shifting your assignment. It is the evidence that your spirit is being prepared to carry more than your flesh ever could. This new version of you must be able to build, must be able to lead, must be able to discern, must be able to withstand spiritual attacks, must be able to walk in authority without collapsing under pressure, must be able to break generational patterns with clarity and strength. And this is why the cravings had to go, because cravings weaken the vessel, but calling strengthens it. Anointed one, let me speak from my own journey. I once mistook the fading of desire as failure. I thought something was wrong with me. But years later, I realized that was the season God built the strongest, clearest, most powerful version of myself. The version that could pray with authority. The version that could discern environments, the version that could create from revelation instead of emotion, the version that could stand alone and not feel empty. And that is what God is building in you right now, the unshakable version of you. Chosen one, let this truth settle into your spirit. You are not being stripped, you are being strengthened. You are not being emptied, you are being expanded. You are not being silenced, you are being prepared. This is not the loss of desire, this is the rise of destiny, and this is only the next stage of your transformation. Chosen one. Now that heaven has stripped away the old cravings and dismantled the noise that once dominated your inner world, you have been ushered into a sacred realm. Few ever reach the realm of heightened spiritual sensitivity. This stage marks a turning point in your transformation, because it is here that the veil between the natural and spiritual thins, and your awareness begins to expand beyond what your old self could ever comprehend. When the flesh quiets, the spirit awakens, and when the spirit awakens, every sense within you begins to function on a higher frequency. You start to notice things that others overlook. You sense truths that others cannot articulate. You feel atmospheres before you see faces. Your instincts begin to operate not from memory or emotion, but from spiritual alignment. Suddenly, what you once called intuition now reveals itself as discernment, and what you once dismissed as a hunch is recognized as the whisper of heaven, guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you for the path ahead. Anointed one. The quieting of your desires was never meant to make you empty, it was meant to make you receptive. Now that the distractions have been dismantled, your inner radar has become sharper, clearer, more accurate. You walk into a room and feel the spiritual climate before you hear a single voice. You speak to someone and instantly sense whether their intention is pure, hidden, conflicted, or deceptive. You find yourself picking up emotional burdens that don't belong to you, not because you are overwhelmed, but because your spirit has become more aware of its environment. The world will call this sensitivity. Heaven calls it activation. God has opened channels within you that were blocked by desire, fogged by cravings, or drowned out by cycles you could not break on your own. Now that He has reclaimed your inner world, you can finally hear what was always meant for you. This awakening is not accidental, it is not random, it is strategic. God is preparing you to navigate spiritual territory that requires more than sight. It requires vision. It requires awareness. It requires sensitivity to the Holy Spirit that cannot be shaken by emotional impulses or worldly distractions. This is why certain people drain you now. This is why certain environments feel heavy. This is why you can no longer tolerate conversations that lack depth or operate in falsehood. Your spirit is too awake to blend into places that dishonor your calling. You cannot go back to what once felt normal because your spirit has outgrown the limitations of your old life. The atmosphere that once felt familiar now feels suffocating. The people you once tolerated now feel misaligned. The desires you once chased now feel meaningless. This is not detachment, it is evolution. Chosen one, do not shrink your sensitivity to make others comfortable. The spiritual awareness rising within you is not an inconvenience, it is protection. It is the mechanism God uses to guide you away from danger, deception, or delay. It is the compass He places inside His chosen vessels so they can walk through life with precision. You may feel misunderstood in this season. You may feel like people no longer get you. You may feel like you're becoming too much or too aware. But understand this: what others misinterpret as intensity, heaven recognizes as preparedness. What others call paranoia, heaven calls discernment. What others see as distance, heaven sees as distinction. Your sensitivity is a sign that God is elevating you into a new realm of responsibility. You cannot carry influence without discernment. You cannot walk in authority without clarity. You cannot steward destiny without spiritual intelligence. The gifts rising within you, the prophetic nudges, the intuitive warnings, the sudden insights are evidence that the Holy Spirit is training your inner world to match the magnitude of your assignment. This is why situations that once seemed harmless now make your spirit uneasy. This is why relationships that once felt exciting now feel dangerous. This is why old attractions have died. The flesh no longer leads you, the Spirit does. Anointed. 1. This awakening also means that you are entering a season of spiritual maturity, where you are no longer guided by impulses, but by alignment. You respond from wisdom, not emotion. You act from clarity, not confusion. You move with intention, not instinct. And as this transformation deepens, heaven begins to restore your inner authority, the authority you lost in moments of weakness, in seasons of distraction, in cycles where you surrendered your power without realizing it. Now that authority is returning. You can feel it. You can sense it. Your voice is becoming stronger. Your boundaries are becoming clearer. Your discernment is becoming sharper. Your identity is becoming more grounded. You are no longer the version of yourself that was tossed by cravings. You are becoming the version shaped by calling. Chosen one. The spiritual awareness rising inside you is not a phase, it is the formation of your next self. You are being shaped for influence, for impact, for leadership in the unseen. God is strengthening you so that when you step into the environments He has prepared for you, you will not be shaken, deceived, or misled. You will walk with the clarity of someone who hears heaven. You will speak with the authority of someone purified by fire. You will move with the confidence of someone guided by vision, not by desire. This is the awakening of your prophetic nature. This is the expansion of your spiritual senses. This is the evolution of the Anointed One within you. And this is only the beginning of what God is about to reveal. Chosen one, now that your spirit has awakened and your discernment has sharpened heaven, brings you into one of the most profound stages of your transformation, the stage of manifestation. This is the realm where what God has been doing internally begins to translate into external movement. The silence within you, the stripping, the detox, the loss of desire, none of it was a void. It was preparation for the season you're stepping into now. And make no mistake, manifestation is not random. It is not coincidence. It is the visible evidence of private obedience. Anointed one. You have spent months, maybe years, being refined in hidden places. You have walked through nights where you questioned your identity, your purpose, your strength. You've had seasons where everything external seemed stagnant, yet everything internal was shifting. You weren't falling behind, you were being positioned. And now, as the noise fades and your spirit rises, the alignment you've been praying for is finally unfolding. Your clarity is becoming your magnet. Your purity is becoming your open door. Your obedience is becoming your acceleration. Manifestation begins not with opportunity, but with order. God has reordered your desires, your appetite, your internal world, and now your reality must follow. Doors that were once locked will begin to open, not because you struggled harder, but because you surrendered deeper. Favor will find you, not because you chased it, but because you allowed God to cleanse the vessel that was meant to carry it. Relationships will shift into your life, not because you were searching, but because God removed the connections that could not walk with your calling. Ideas will flow effortlessly, not from pressure, but from alignment. Chosen one. This is the divine exchange. What once drained you now fuels you. The energy that used to leak through craving has been redirected into creativity. The passion that once burned toward the flesh is now burning toward your purpose. The fire that once felt chaotic is now becoming controlled, focused, and powerful. This is why you suddenly feel the urge to build, to write, to speak, to start to create. You're not restless, you are ready. But manifestation is not only about dreams coming to life. It is also about cycles breaking. Generational patterns that ran through your bloodline are losing their power because you refuse to repeat them. You said no where others said yes. You stood still where others gave in. You surrendered where others struggled. And now heaven is honoring your decision. The chains your ancestors carried are snapping around you one by one. You are not just transforming your life, you are rewriting your lineage. You are breaking the cycle of confusion, addiction, lust, instability, and spiritual blindness. You are the interruption to everything that once limited your family. You are the doorway to a new spiritual inheritance. Anointed One. What God is doing in you is bigger than you. Your obedience is echoing into generations you will never meet. Your purity is creating space for blessings your children will walk in. Your surrender is building altars your descendants will stand on, and your transformation is pulling your entire bloodline forward. As manifestation increases, so does responsibility. Not the heavy burden of striving, but the sacred responsibility of alignment. God is not blessing you to overwhelm you. He is blessing you to position you. He is preparing you to lead, to speak, to influence, to carry a mantle that cannot be shaken by temptation. This is why the cravings had to die, because the next level requires purity, focus, and strength. Chosen One. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. You are not stepping into random blessings. You are stepping into the harvest of everything God pruned, purified, and rebuilt within you. Your manifestation is not a miracle. It is the natural outcome of supernatural alignment. This is your season, and heaven is unveiling what has been hidden within you all along. Chosen One. Now that manifestation has begun unfolding in your life, you are stepping into another sacred dimension, the dimension of generational liberation. This is where the work God has done inside you begins to break chains that did not start with you, but will end with you. Every stripping, every quiet season, every moment your desires faded was part of a larger story, a story where heaven chose you to interrupt patterns that ran through your bloodline, unchecked for generations. Anointed One. You may not realize it yet, but your transformation is cleansing more than your own life. It is purifying the spiritual DNA of your lineage. the addictions, the cycles of broken relationships, the patterns of lust, the confusion, the emotional instability, the wounds passed down like spiritual inheritance. All of it begins to lose power the moment you surrender to God's refining fire. When He took your sex drive, when He quieted your cravings, when He pulled you away from certain connections, He was closing demonic entry points that had access to your family for decades, even centuries. You are not weak for losing desire. You are chosen to break a curse. You are not being punished. You are being positioned as the hinge between what was and what will be. The silence inside you is the sound of chains falling in the spirit. The emptiness you felt was the clearing of spiritual clutter your ancestors never confronted. And the strength rising in you now is the evidence that the cycle ends with you. Chosen one, generations before you fought battles you could not see. Some lost, some survived. But you will overcome. Your obedience is rewriting your bloodline. Your purity is protecting your descendants. Your awakening is shifting the entire direction of your family tree. And heaven wants you to know your sacrifice is not in vain. Your transformation is historic. Your breakthrough is generational. Chosen one, as we come to the close of this message, take a breath and recognize what is happening within you right now. Heaven has not only spoken to you, it has marked you. What God is doing in your spirit is intentional, precise, and prophetic. This quieting, this stripping, this holy recalibration is not a pause in your life. It is your kairos moment, the divine moment when heaven aligns with your destiny and something irreversible begins to shift. Anointed one, you are not leaving this video the way you came. A supernatural transfer has already begun. The same God who silenced the cravings of your flesh is now awakening the fire of your purpose. The same God who emptied you is now preparing to fill you. The same God who refined you in private is about to reveal you with glory. What was taken was never loss. It was preparation for what is about to be given. Walk forward with reverence. Walk forward with clarity. Heaven is guiding your steps. Grace is strengthening your spirit, and the blessings assigned to your name are already in motion. Protect your peace, honor your process, and stay aligned with the voice that called you higher. If this word resonated with your spirit, let it be known. Comment, "I receive it," as your declaration of agreement. And if this message nourished your soul, stay connected. There is more heaven wants to release to you. Until next time, chosen one. Stay anchored, stay awakened, stay set apart. You are rising. You are becoming. You are chosen.